Now that you know how to get the pH using the calculator, to get the pH of 1 times 10 to the negative 1, it's just going to be the power of the 10, which is negative 1 times the negative 1. So this will be pH is equal to negative log 1 times 10 to the negative 1. So this is going to be pH of 1. This is going to be pH of, you guessed it, 2, 3, and so on. So I wrote, this is pH 14. The pH 14 corresponds to very, very little H pluses, which means it is very basic. Now you understand what pH 14 means. It means that it is 1 times 10 to the negative 14 molar of H pluses. You have very little H pluses. That means you have a lot of OH minus, so it's very basic on this side, as opposed to the left side. pH of 0 means 1 times 10 to the 0, which is the same as 1 molar, which means you have a lot of H pluses, which makes it very acidic. And in the middle, you have neutral amount. You have equal amounts of H pluses and OH minuses, and they add up to negative 14, so the other one of the OH will be negative 7 as well. That makes it neutral. If ever you wanted to get the molarity from the pH, for example, let's say you have pH 4. What would be the molarity of that? All you have to do to go backwards is to use this formula 10 to the negative pH. So all you have to do is type in the calculator 10 to the power of negative 4. Don't forget to put the negative number in there because the formula says negative pH. And that will give you the molarity of H pluses. Again, pH 3 means 10 to the negative 3, or 0.001 molar H pluses. If you don't know how to type that in the calculator, use the button with a caret. You just go 10 to the caret, and then you type in negative 3 for this one, and that's how you plug it in. So if there is a potential for hydrogen, there is also a potential for hydroxide. In the neutral range, if this is 1 times 10 to the negative 7, that means that the hydroxide is also 1 times 10 to the negative 7. Which means that this, which is called pOH, is going to be 7. Because you take the negative log of that, you will get the number 7. As you notice, 7 plus 7 equals 14, which is equal to Kw, which is 14 as well, or 10 to the negative 14. So if you were to guess what this would be, if this is 6, then this has to be 8. So this is the amount of OH is 1 times 10 to the negative 8. This would be pOH of 14 minus 5 is 9. So this is 1 times 10 to the negative 9. Go ahead and pause the video and write down the rest as you look at the trend. As you can see, it goes from 7 to 14. This is now called the pOH, the potential for hydroxide. Here you can see that there's not very many hydroxides because it's still the same beaker. It's very, very acidic. All of this is acidic. So it's acidic, 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 and then it is neutral. And then as you go down, it's going to become more basic. Let's go ahead and fill it in going down. So going down here, if this is 14, if pH is 14, then the pOH has to be 0 because these two have to add up to 14. So the molarity is 1 times 10 to the 0 molar, or the same as 1 molar. As you can see, there are a lot of OH minus, which makes this very, very basic. And it is consistent with what we wrote here. It has very little H pluses, therefore it is basic. So in this, you should have learned how the pH scale works. You should also know that You add these two numbers together, the pH and the pOH, they always add up to 14, so that's one formula you can use. To get the pH of something, all you have to do is log it, negative log it. To get the pOH of something, you just negative log the molarity again. If you wanted to get the molarity, then do the opposite. 10 to the negative pH for the H plus, or 10 to the negative pOH for the OH minus.